The Boeing saga continues. Amid whistleblowers coming forward and testifying in Senate hearings, the Society of Professional Engineering Employees in Aerospace, or SPEEA, has alleged that Boeing had retaliated against two engineers who insisted on re-evaluating previous engineering work on the Boeing 777 and 787 programs. SPEEA is a union that represents employees at both Boeing and Spirit Aerosystems. In today's video, we'll go in depth with the allegations put forward by SPEEA against Boeing. SPEEA states that it had filed a complaint with the National Labour Relations Board, or NLRB, on April 18, 2024. In the complaint, the union asked the board to get access to a report filed by Boeing with the FAA about an incident. SPEEA added that the move was necessary for it to successfully appeal actions taken against one of the workers who is still at Boeing. Meanwhile, the other has already left the aircraft manufacturer. Explaining the case in further detail, the union stated that it involved the Organisation Delegation Authorization, or ODA, process, where the FAA delegates some oversight authority to aircraft manufacturers, including Boeing. SPEEA noted that the FAA had completed a report on the ODA process, which concluded that Boeing workers are reluctant to speak out about potential safety and quality problems for fear of retaliation. The panel also found that Boeing workers are hesitant to use the company's Speak Up process for a number of reasons, including the belief that their complaints wouldn't be acted upon. The two ODA engineers were said to be at odds with managers in 2022 when they requested to use a different set of assumptions in analysing the onboard computer networks on the Boeing 777 and 787 programs. They reasoned this would be needed to comply with FAA's newly issued guidance. However, the union alleged that Boeing's managers objected, saying that going back to run calculations using the new assumptions would cost money and cause production delays. Still, SPEEA said that the engineers insisted and, with the backing of the FAA, prevailed, and Boeing had to redo the required analysis. Rich Plunkett, SPEEA's Director of Strategic Development, noted that this was how Congress intended the ODA process to work, where Boeing employees, experts in their respective fields, review their colleagues' work and look for potential errors to correct them. SPEEA stated that after the employees had raised the issue with the onboard computer networks of the two wide-body aircraft, both received identical negative evaluations at their next performance reviews. The union's representative highlighted that these are critical since they determine raises and promotion opportunities and potentially put employees at risk of layoffs. The two engineers appealed the evaluations with SPEEA, and the union said that its staff met with Boeing's representatives to figure out the case. This included a manager admitting that he had rated the pair poorly, quote, at the request of the 777 and 787 managers who'd been forced to resubmit their work. Despite this, the manufacturer refused to change its evaluation of the two employees. As a result of the dispute, one engineer left the company, while the other used Boeing's Speak Up complaint filing system. Since the complaint alleged retaliation and interference with ODA processes, the company was forced to file a report with the FAA. Subsequently, the company's officials called the engineer to a meeting where a SPEEA representative was also present. There, Boeing told the employee that his complaint, quote, did not meet the legal threshold of interference nor the legal definition of retaliation, and as a result, they were closing this case. Still, the union said that it has continued pursuing the case, adding that it had sought access to the report given to the FAA. Boeing has refused to do so, even if U.S. labor law gives unions access to documents they need for an appeal case, with a complaint to the NLRB seeking to force the manufacturer to turn over the requested documents. Plunkett stated that, whether it's capital R retaliation or not, the fact remains that the two ODA-designated SPEEA members did the right thing and stuck to their guns despite heavy pressure from Boeing, and then got hit with career-damaging performance reviews. This helps show why Boeing doesn't have a healthy safety culture. In a statement to Simple Flying on the matter, a Boeing spokesperson reiterated that the manufacturer does not tolerate retaliation, encouraging its employees to speak up whenever there is a problem at the workspace. The manufacturer's statement in full is as follows. We have zero tolerance for retaliation and encourage our employees to speak up when they see an issue. After an extensive review of documentation and interviewing more than a dozen witnesses, our investigators found no evidence of retaliation or interference. We have determined the allegations are unsubstantiated. The issue of company intimidation and retaliation had also been recently raised, with Boeing engineer Sam Salahpour telling a Senate committee that he faced years of harassment and exclusion for speaking out. Salahpour even alleges that he had a bolt driven into the wheel of his car as a warning, concluding that, despite Boeing claiming to champion a culture of speaking up, it has, quote, become obvious that speaking up at Boeing comes at a cost. While Salahpour still has his job, he has claimed that he continues to face discriminatory behavior from colleagues. In recent times, the U.S. Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations launched an investigation into Boeing and its safety culture. A letter signed by Richard Blumenthal, the chairman of the subcommittee, and Ron Johnson, another committee member, alleged that manufacturing processes at the plane maker were creating safety risks to the public. The two senators said they received reports from a whistleblower about problems with the Boeing 777 and Boeing 787 programs, alleging that on several occasions the individual had found problems with both twin-aisle aircraft. It has been alleged that Boeing has taken shortcuts to reduce bottlenecks in the production process, leading to faulty evaluation of production data, resulting in potentially defective parts being installed on in-service aircraft. Salahpour specifically alleged that one of the shortcuts Boeing made during assembly was to cover up gaps in the fuselage by force aligning them, applying excessive force. This ultimately led to levels of force orders of magnitude higher than safe limits being applied to parts of the aircraft, 165 times to be precise. After being repositioned from the 787 program to the 777, Salahpour stated that he saw workers using, quote, improper and untested methods to align parts in the 777, including cranes and other heavy equipment. In one case, he saw a worker, quote, jumping on pieces of the airplane to get them to align. Whistleblowers allege that issues could result in, quote, premature fatigue failure without any warning, thus creating unsafe conditions for the aircraft with potentially catastrophic accidents and passenger fatalities. In a statement to Simple Flying on April 15th, Boeing said it has been cooperating with the subcommittee's inquiry, adding that any reports about structural issues with the Boeing 787 were inaccurate. So what do you think of this latest news involving two engineers belonging to the Society of Professional Engineering Employees in Aerospace Union? Share your thoughts with us by leaving a comment down below. Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.